So recently there has been a lot, and I mean a lot, of speculation online concerning one of the surviving roommates, Dylan Mortensen. In this video, in my own words, I'm going to share with you a message that I received back on December the 3rd, which could shed some light onto what took place during the evening/morning of the murders. Firstly, I'm going to read to you a very short newspaper article to get everyone up to speed on exactly what I'm talking about here. And then afterwards, I'm going to share my own thoughts on what possibly could have taken place. Why did surviving roommate, who came face to face with killer, wait 6 hours before calling 911? And why did he choose them as his victims? The questions left unanswered by dramatic Idaho affidavit. Police have unsealed the arrest affidavit revealing why they have pointed the finger at Bryan Kohberger more than a month after 4 students were slain in their beds. The explosive document shows how painstaking work by Moscow police and the FBI tracked down the 28-year-old criminal justice graduate. He was denied bail today during a brief court appearance in Moscow shortly after the affidavit outlining some of the case against him was shared online. The papers included details on how Kohberger's DNA was found on a knife sheath close to the bodies of Maddie Mogan and Kaylee Gonsalves. However, the long-awaited revelations have brought a series of questions about the brutal slayings on November the 13th. Why did Dylan wait 6 hours before calling 911 despite coming face to face with the killer? Surviving roommate Dylan Mortensen is under pressure to reveal why she failed to call the authorities earlier, despite coming face to face with a quote, bushy-eyebrowed killer. The probable cause affidavit revealed that Mortensen, who lived through the attack with Bethany Funk, heard several scuffles throughout the night and opened her door. Mortensen told police that she saw a suspect dressed in all black with a mask covering his face and heard one of her housemates say, "There's someone here." She also heard the suspect say, "It's okay, I'm here to help you," as he wandered the house committing the atrocity. Police confirmed that a 911 call was made by one of the surviving roommates at 11:58 AM who requested help for an unconscious person, though it has not been confirmed who spoke to police. It has raised questions of why Mortensen didn't contact authorities sooner, with some arguing that she may have been frozen by fear. The roommate did not contact authorities for 6 hours, despite hearing several of her roommates in distress as well as witnessing the killer. Mortensen told cops she was awoken at around 4 AM by what sounded like victim Kaylee Gonsalves, 21, playing with her dog in a third-floor bedroom. She said she looked out of her room but didn't see anything, looking again on a second occasion when she thought Xana was crying. Mortensen stated she opened her door for the 3rd time after she heard the crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. After the man moved towards her, she said that she remained in a frozen shock phase as he continued past her, but let her survive. It is not clear why both Funk and Mortensen were allowed to live, with the latter coming face to face with her housemate's killer. One of the questions that has not been answered is why Kohberger allegedly targeted the 4 students and left their 2 roommates to live. Kohberger was tracked to the area of the home in the months leading up to the deaths by his phone, but officials have yet to confirm how he became aware of the students in the first place. The affidavit states that police made efforts to determine if Kohberger stalked any of the victims before the killings. It added that they looked into if he, quote, conducted surveillance on the King Road residence and was in contact with any of the victims' associates before or after the alleged offence. Okay, so clearly there's a little bit of added bluff and bluster in that particular newspaper article, but I'm sure you get the picture here of what the question is on everyone's lips at this present time. Why did it take Dylan Mortensen 6 hours to contact authorities? What I want to do before I get into this rumour or this message that I received very early on in December is I just want to clarify exactly what took place according to the affidavit here. This very short part of the affidavit, it's important that we get it clear as to what is stated from law enforcement. And it states the following here. DM stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the second floor. DM stated she was awoken at approximately 4 a.m. by what she stated sounded like Gonsalves playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which was located on the third floor. A short time later, DM said she heard what she thought was Gonsalves saying something to the effect of, "There's someone here." A review of records obtained from a forensic download of Knodl's phone showed this could have also have been Knodl, as her cellular phone indicated she was likely awake and using the TikTok app at approximately 4:12 a.m. DM stated she looked out of her bedroom but did not see anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house. DM stated she opened her door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Knodl's room. DM then said she heard a male voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." At approximately 4:17 a.m, a security camera located at 1112 King Road, a residence immediately to the northwest of 1122 King Road, picked up distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper, followed by a loud thud. A dog can also be heard barking numerous times starting at 4:17 a.m. The security camera is less than 50 feet from the west wall of Knodl's bedroom. DM stated she opened her door for the third time after she heard the crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. DM described the figure as 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. The male walked past DM as she stood in a frozen shock phase. The male walked towards the back sliding glass door. DM locked herself in her room after seeing the male. DM did not state that she recognised the male. This leads investigators to believe that the murderer left the scene. Okay, now I received a very intriguing message back on December the 3rd. This is from a personal friend of mine. I'm not going to share the exact message for confidentiality reasons. But there are things in that message which lead me to believe that there could be something in this. The reason I say that is because it mentions here, and bearing in mind we're talking about December the 3rd here, a long time ago, it mentioned that the person that was seen in the house was wearing a mask. So there could be something in this. Now, I know this is going to be assumption. This is going to be absolutely pure speculation here. But what we have online at the current time is a lot of individuals attacking this girl, saying that she was in on this, she knew this was going to happen, why didn't she call the police earlier? You know, very, very nasty, insulting behaviour from a lot of people towards Dylan Mortensen. Now, what I'm going to say next, as I say, it is pure speculation. But to me, it does make a lot of sense here. So I was told, as I say, back on December the 3rd, there was a very early rumour that came out that Dylan Mortensen may have been under the influence of drugs. And I mean LSD, magic mushrooms, that sort of stuff, hallucinogenics. She may have opened her door, may have seen this individual and thought she was having a bad trip. Now, as crazy as this sounds, think about this for one moment. If this person had taken some kind of drugs, and I'm not here to judge anybody, that's certainly not the point of this, it's hopefully to try and remove some of this suspicion from this poor girl. If she did in fact take some kind of drug, some sort of hallucinogenic, LSD, magic mushrooms, whatever, and she believed she was having a bad trip, that to me does make a lot of sense, because she's heard crying. She's heard something, she's gone to her bedroom door, she's opened that door, there's nothing there. Okay, right, okay. Go and sit back down. Then here's another noise, goes back to the door, opens again, nothing there. Okay, am I imagining things here? What's going on? The third occasion, she sees a masked man walking towards her who just walks past her. Is this the key here? Does that explain why she has simply gone inside her room, locked the door, and then eventually gone back to sleep? Because what I have heard is that she laid down after seeing this individual. She didn't hear any further noises, and then that was it. Because she didn't hear anything else after seeing this individual, all dressed in black, she went to sleep. She assumed she was having a bad trip. Now, when you piece all of that together, to me, as I say, it does make a lot of sense. Hearing a noise, going to the door, there's nothing there, right? Okay, go and lay back down. You think you're hearing crying, you go to the door, you open the door, there's nothing there, right? Surely at that point in time, if she was experiencing some kind of bad trip or something drug related, you may simply think, actually, am I imagining things here? Because a lot of people are saying, how can you hear these sounds? How can you actually see a physical being walk past you wearing a bloody mask and not call the police? How can you not call the police until hours later? Not 6 o'clock in the morning, not 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, but a lot later than that. What is the explanation here? To me, that makes so much sense. The fact that she didn't hear anything after seeing this individual, she's gone back to sleep, she's woken up at a normal time, maybe because she is a bit hungover, a bit whatever, a bit groggy, and then the rest of the events have slowly unfolded. Now, although the probable cause affidavit is solely focused pretty much on Bryan Kohberger, that could also explain why that doesn't make it into that particular document. They're hardly going to say Dylan Mortensen was under the influence of drugs and saw this individual. They're not going to put that in that document, are they? And would they? Do they need to? I mean, really, they're just focusing on the evidence against Bryan Kohberger. But it does seem to cut off in a rather strange way, which has led to all of these questions, all of this speculation online. And admittedly, what I have just said there is speculation. But to me, it makes a lot more sense rather than someone who is, plotting something or is, had some sort of prior knowledge. To me, someone who is experiencing a bad trip and actually thinks they're seeing things does make a lot more sense to me than someone who was actually in on this. We need to remember that police, exonerated these girls, that they were nothing to do with this. Bethany and Dylan were nothing to do with this crime according to law enforcement. So then how do you explain the events which transpired? For me personally, when looking at this, if this individual, as in Dylan Mortensen, was in some kind of state of shock, some kind of state of terror, you still would have thought that she would have come out of her bedroom a little bit earlier than midday. What I received in that message, to me, as I said, makes a lot of sense. The fact that she saw this individual, she went back into her bedroom, locked the door, probably laid down thinking, did I just see that? She's listening out, there's no more noise. Eventually, she calms herself down enough to go back to sleep, and then when she arises the next day, that's when the discovery is made. Because if this was someone who was in fear for their life, who was genuinely convinced that she had seen this individual, that something terrible had happened, you would have thought that she would have come out of that bedroom a little bit sooner than midday. That she would have immediately have gone to see what had taken place. Did I hear that crying last night? What was that noise? What was that loud thud? What was that bang? What was someone's here. When you put that in the mind of someone who may be under the influence, you could see it as, actually, am I just imagining things here? The voices, someone's here, the crying, the man wearing a mask, just walking past her, not acknowledging her possibly. To me, it makes a lot of sense. Now, as many people know, I'm not really a channel that puts out, massive monumental conspiracies of, well, it was the butcher that did it and this poor individual in Idaho who drives this truck and where's this truck going and who does this truck belong to? That's not me. That's not really my style when it comes to the videos that I create. But the fact that in that message, which that individual received at the end of November, I received on the 3rd of December, the fact that in that message mentioned the perpetrator was wearing a mask, to me, there could be some validity here to this particular message. That's all I'm going to say on the situation. As I say, please leave your own thoughts and theories in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, do give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I look forward to seeing you all again for the next one. Take care. Cheers.